Virgo, stop what you are doing right now. Seriously, stop. Because what I am about to say to you is not the kind of thing you scroll past. This is not background noise. This is not something you half listen to while you do something else. I need you fully here because what is happening in your energy right now is real and it deserves your full attention. There is something sitting in your chest right now. You felt it the moment you saw this title. Something shifted, something tightened slightly, or loosened slightly, or both at the same time. And that reaction, that immediate, involuntary, honest reaction, that is not an accident because there is someone. You already know who I am talking about. You felt them the moment I said that. Their name, their face, their energy, something about them floated right to the surface before you even had time to stop it. And there is something unresolved between you and this person, something that has been sitting in the space between you, unspoken, unfinished, unaddressed. Not because either of you stopped caring, but because something got complicated, something got heavy, and neither of you quite knew how to pick it back up without risking something. I want you to stay with me here because what I am sensing right now around you, around this connection, around what is moving in the energy between you two is significant. There is a softening happening on their side, and I don't say that lightly. I don't say that to give you false hope or to pull you somewhere emotionally that isn't grounded. I say it because the probability of what is shifting right now in how this person is relating to the situation between you, in how they are internally processing what has happened, has changed. Something in them is moving toward conversation, toward honesty, toward the kind of real, unguarded, heart to heart exchange that has probably been missing for too long. Let me ask you something right now. When was the last time you and this person really talked? Not surface level, not logistics, not the careful, guarded version of conversation where both of you are saying words, but neither of you is really saying anything. When was the last time it felt real between you? Honest, open, safe enough to actually be yourselves? For some of you, that moment feels like a long time ago. For others, it feels like something that almost happened recently but got interrupted, got swallowed back down, got postponed by fear or pride or just not knowing how to begin. Does this resonate with where you are right now? Leave me a comment below. Tell me how long this thing between you has been sitting unaddressed, because I think a lot of you watching this have been carrying this in silence for longer than anyone around you realizes. Let me describe something very specific. There is a kind of conversation that most people never actually have, even with the people they are closest to, even with the people they love most. It is the conversation where you stop performing where you stop protecting, where you put down the version of yourself that you show to the world and you just speak from the actual place, not from anger, not from hurt, not from the accumulated weight of everything that went wrong, but from the place underneath all of that, the place that still cares, the place that never stopped caring, the place that, if you are being completely honest with yourself, still wants to find a way through this. That conversation, that real, vulnerable, unguarded conversation, that is what is becoming probable right now. I want to slow down here for a second because I am picking up something specific and I don't want to rush past it. This person, the one who came to mind, they have been thinking about you, not casually, not in passing, in that deep, involuntary way that happens when something is unresolved, when someone takes up space in your mind without being invited, when you find yourself replaying conversations, rethinking moments, wondering what would have happened if things had gone differently. They have been doing that with you, with this, and somewhere in that process of replaying and rethinking, something has shifted in them. A softening, a willingness, a quiet but growing readiness to stop letting pride or fear keep the distance between you in place. Think about a moment recently. Maybe you were somewhere ordinary, making coffee, sitting in your car before you went inside somewhere, lying in bed in that space between awake and asleep. And this person appeared in your thoughts, uninvited, clear, and for just a moment, before the complicated feelings rushed in, there was something simpler underneath. Something that felt almost like missing them. Not the situation, not the drama, not the version of things when they were difficult, just them. Have you had moments like that recently, where underneath everything complicated, something simpler surfaces? Tell me in the comments, because I think this is where a lot of you actually are, and it is different from where you tell people you are. Now let me talk about the word compromise, because it is in this energy for a very specific reason. And I want to be careful about how I describe it, because compromise gets misunderstood sometimes. Compromise does not mean surrender. It does not mean abandoning what you need. It does not mean pretending something hurt less than it did. It does not mean going back to something that was not working and hoping it works this time. Real compromise, the kind that actually holds, the kind that actually rebuilds something, looks completely different from that. It looks like two people who are both willing to stop being completely right in order to start being actually connected. It looks like the willingness to say, I see how my part in this contributed to where we ended up, not as a performance of humility, but as a genuine acknowledgement. It looks like meeting someone in the middle of the discomfort instead of waiting for them to come all the way to your side first. And what I am sensing right now is that this person is becoming willing to do that, to meet you somewhere real, to show up without the armor, to have the actual conversation instead of the managed version of it. Hold on, because I want to name something here that I think is really important. For some of you, The idea of this conversation is exciting. It is what you have been wanting, the opening you have been hoping for. But for others, it is complicated because you are not sure anymore, because the waiting has done something to you, because part of you has been quietly building a life around the absence of this person, and the idea of them re-entering that space feels destabilizing. And both of those responses are completely valid. Excitement and fear can coexist. Hope and caution can coexist. Wanting something and being unsure about it can coexist. You do not have to be certain about how you feel to be honest about it. Let me talk about what gets in the way of real conversation, because I think this is where a lot of people get stuck. The first thing that gets in the way is pride, the quiet, stubborn insistence that the other person should move first, that since they caused the distance, they should be the ones to close it. That showing up first would be a kind of losing. And I understand that impulse completely, especially if you feel like you have already extended yourself, already reached, already made yourself vulnerable, already tried in ways that were not matched. But here's what I want to offer you. Sometimes the person who moves first is not the one who lost. They are the one who decided that connection mattered more than being right. The second thing that gets in the way is the script, the story you have rehearsed about how this conversation would go, the things you would say, the things they would say, the ways it could go wrong, the ways you could be hurt again. And because you have rehearsed the difficult version so many times, you have started to believe that version is inevitable. But a script is not a prediction. A fear is not a guarantee. And the conversation you have been rehearsing in your head is not the only version of this that is possible. I'm not sure why, but this feels important to say right now. The version of this person that hurt you and the version of this person who is capable of showing up differently can both be real at the same time. People are not fixed. Situations are not permanent. And the internal shift that happens in someone when they genuinely reckon with something they regret, that is real too. That does not erase what happened, but it does change what is possible going forward. Let me paint a scene for you. Imagine the moment this conversation actually happens. Not the rehearsed version, the real one. Maybe it starts quietly. Maybe it starts with something small, a message that is a little softer than usual, a moment that opens a door that has been closed. And maybe your first instinct is to be careful, to protect yourself, to not show too much too fast. But underneath the caution, something in you exhales. Because this is the conversation, the real one, the one that actually has the potential to change things. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can stay behind the glass, safe, protected, unreachable, and watch the conversation happen from a distance. Or you can step into it carefully, honestly, with your boundaries intact but your heart available. And only you know which one is right for you. Only you know what you are ready for. Only you know what this situation actually requires of you. But I will say this, the fact that you are here, right now, the fact that this title stopped you, the fact that their name came to your mind immediately, that is information too. I want to talk about what you deserve in this, because I think sometimes in situations like this, people get so focused on what the other person is doing or not doing that they forget to check in with themselves about what they actually need. So let me ask you directly, what do you actually need from this person right now? Not what you think you should need, not the version that sounds reasonable and unbothered. The real version, do you need an acknowledgement? Do you need to feel like what you experienced was real and seen? Do you need to know that they understand the impact of what happened? Do you need space to say things that have been sitting in you unsaid? Know that. Get clear on that before anything else. Because walking into a real conversation without knowing what you actually need is how people end up agreeing to things that do not actually serve them, is how people end up feeling relieved in the moment and confused. Again, a week later, know what you need and be willing to say it clearly, calmly, without apology. Have you gotten clear on what you actually need from this person or this situation? Or have you been so focused on what they might do or say that you have not checked in with yourself about your own needs? Let me know in the comments, because I think this is one of the most important pieces of all of this, and it is the one that gets skipped most often. Now, let me bring this to something that I really want you to hear. Whatever happens with this conversation, however it unfolds, whatever this person brings to it or does not bring to it, you are going to be okay. Not because I am promising you a specific outcome, but because you have already proven that to yourself. You have been carrying this, the uncertainty, the distance, the unresolved weight of it, and you have continued. You have shown up for your life even while holding this. You have kept going even when this was heavy. That is not nothing. That is actually everything. And it means that whatever this conversation brings, you have the foundation to handle it, to receive what is good in it, and to protect yourself from what is not. I want to talk about one more thing before we close, and this might be the thing that matters most. Whatever is happening between you and this person, whatever conversation is becoming possible, whatever compromise is forming in the energy around this connection, do not lose yourself in it. It is easy in the relief of reconnection, in the warmth of someone finally showing up the way you needed them to dissolve a little, to become so focused on preserving the connection that you stop checking in with what you actually feel. Stay yourself all the way through this. Your needs matter. Your experience matters. Your comfort matters. Your pace matters. And anyone who is genuinely showing up for a real conversation with you, a real, honest, heart-to-heart conversation, will understand that, will make room for that, will not rush you past your own process in order to get to the resolution they need. If they do that, if they hold space for your pace and your truth and your needs, that is information, good information, the kind that tells you something real about what this connection is capable of becoming. You have been patient with this, more patient than most people would have been. And that patience, that quiet, steady willingness to keep the door of your own heart from slamming shut completely, that has kept something alive, something that is now beginning to move, beginning to breathe again, beginning to find its way toward the light. And I want you to honor that, not by forcing anything, not by rushing toward resolution before you are ready, but by staying open, staying honest, staying grounded in who you are and what you need, and allowing this conversation to be what it actually is, rather than what you fear it might be. If this reading touched something real in you today, if something in here landed somewhere honest, leave a comment below. Tell me who came to mind. You don't have to say their name, but tell me what came up. Tell me what you have been carrying around this person. Tell me what kind of conversation you have been quietly hoping for, because you being here means something. And whatever is moving in this situation right now, it is worth paying attention to. Stay grounded, stay honest, and let yourself be available for the real conversation, the one that actually changes things. No performance, no pretending, just truth for the ones brave enough to show up as themselves. Real connection starts when the armor comes off. Stay soft, stay strong, stay you.